it doesn't mean you're English, mate.
That's true. That's true, and I'll concede
So what's your
that
point?
what's your language?
What's your point?
Okay, my point is that although you might be ethnically Irish, your accent is showing that you're from Liverpool.
I don't care, mate.
You're from Liverpool.
What's your point?
Just admit that you're from Liverpool. You need to know.
What's your point?
Can we just talk about something else?
She's up here.
Let's talk about what the point is of his point.
No, we don't care, Kathy.
He obviously wants to make a point. What's your point?
See, it's always a captain save a hoe. They're trying to save a hoe.
No, I think the problem is you're surrounding yourself with dickheads. You're surrounding yourself with dickheads. My accent is actually Irish. I'm from Dublin. So
Well, they
he's
don't have to
talking
tell you where
bullshit.
they're from. Nobody has to tell you where they're from.
Yeah, but he's talking bullshit, mate.
Okay, what's your language?
Irish.
That's the Irish.
What's your language? Bullshit.
English.
Bullshit.
So you don't speak shelter?
Like this is a huge room. Let's talk about something.
Man, anybody talking to you, shut the fuck up.
No.
Okay. Talk to yourself in the fucking audience. You want to talk by yourself? You want to talk by yourself?
No. Kathy is not worth fighting over.
Listen, guys, I'm not gonna fight over, but by the way, I can speak Irish Gaelic, I can speak Scottish Gaelic, I can speak French, I can speak Spanish, I can speak fucking Elvish, I can speak fucking Cornish, I can speak Welsh, I can speak English, I can speak American bullshit.
This is not a real language, you dummy. You've been watching too many Hobbits.
What language do you
You've been
speak?
watching the Hobbits?
What language do you speak? What language do you
I
speak?
asked you.
These
No,
are
but I know what language speak bullshit.
Can you speak shelter?
That's not even a language.
You just said Elvish fucking language.
You said shelter.
You said Celtic language that was made up by Tolkien, you know.
Excuse me, am I not speaking to one person? Or does he need someone defending him?
Yes, and Tolkien
Is he a little chicken? Is he a chicken again? Does he need people defending him? What's shelter? Can you speak shelter, please?
Okay, I won't put her to the audience because you guys are enjoying her. But can we talk to other people and just not center this demon?
But she keeps going. She's
I don't know, man.
What shelter? He said, can you speak shelter? What shelter? Can we laugh at him?
Okay, I did put her to the audience, and I know that you guys wanted her. You guys can put me down to the audience and demod me if you want, but I'm done with that demon.
She's a demon. She really is.
Damn, she's serious about this shit.
Never fuck you.
How dare you say that about my cousin? You're a bunch of racist Americans, neo-colonial settlers, and you're all a bunch of demons putting the cousin down in the goo like that. How dare you? You're not even from Lebanon. You're a fake Arab, you blonde MAGA woman from wherever. You're such a liar. Don't put my cousin down in the goo. She's making great points and everything she's saying is coherent.
Other people and just not center.
Why? Did you put his... Oh, then you put him in the goo.
I didn't put him in the
What
group.
me?
I didn't put him in the
Rest in
group.
peace.
Wasn't me.
What subject are we talking?
That is so wild. You guys don't let Edna troll for 5 seconds, but you let that demon be up here. Like, get out.
I swear. Okay, so subject. Go. What?
I have a question. So when you guys get up in the morning, do you brush your teeth first, then have breakfast, or do you have breakfast first and then you brush?
I'm gonna eat breakfast like
I
3
have
hours
breakfast
after.
Brush your fucking teeth.
Yo, see, white people love doing that shit. They just off the wake up, they're eating breakfast and then they brush their teeth. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And I'd have to brush.
Well, I mean,
So you drink the milk and you eat the breakfast all over the crud on your teeth. That's fucking disgusting.
What do you
and then
think?
she goes and brushes it off.
And then I go and brush my teeth after.
How the fuck you taste water without brushing your teeth?
I ain't gonna lie, I can
Nasty breath,
if I
motherfucker.
don't brush my teeth. one day I was younger, I had orange juice and I didn't brush my teeth. I never did that again. I was like, what in the fuck? This bitch,
Yo, you done laid, wait a minute. I'm a bit of a masterpiece. I love orange. Yo, fuck that. You done laid in bed. You done get it, nigga, will you shut the fuck up? I'm talking. You done laid in bed and you done sucked your man off and you go eat breakfast.
Well,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What?
Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't do that.
I know, but
You know, suck your man off?
No, I don't. No, I don't do
Okay.
that.
so before or after, it's a hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. And he's right. That is, a lot of women probably do that. It's gross.
I'm listening. Goose Nutella. I ain't gonna lie, I just a real motherfucker.
I told y'all I've been up for almost 30 hours.
No, well, you guys like have sex in your sleep and then you have no problem sleeping and then afterwards with all that funk and shit all over.
That's right, but at least we brush our teeth in the morning.
Yes, with my woman. Hell yeah.
Hell no, and I'm with you.
Shit. We don't be in between the sheets all night long.
Once you squirt in the bed, then fight over who's gonna lay in the wet spot. Like, it's disgusting. You got to
Yo,
Your man
that
can't satisfy you as a man.
no,
Trying to sleep in the bed all night fucking. You need a new man.
No, we need new sheets after that.
Oh, you gonna change sheets every
I
month?
guarantee you, none of you in this room
You're probably one of
use
the
baby
change
wipes
sheets
or
every
a
20
bidet.
minutes.
All of you guys are using dry ass toilet paper to smear the
yeah,
peanut
right.
butter shit all over your ass.
You
Yeah,
got
first of all, men don't know how to wipe their
you
butt.
got people know I
Bullshit. Bullshit, Jazz. I know
Men
bullshit.
don't know how to wipe their butt. You're the king.
Bullshit, Jazzy.
You're the skid mark kings. We don't want to.
exactly, and they sleep in these dirty sheets with their articles all over.
Men need women
Yeah,
to
that's why you
clean.
got all them pussy juices down in y'all motherfucking thick pants. You nasty pussy motherfuckers.
Oh, now you don't like pussy, you like dick?
Can't feel that.
I say you nasty pussy.
You
I
nasty
like
pussy
clean pussy. I say
motherfucker.
you nasty pussies.
Nasty pussy motherfucker.
Call us
You're
that.
nasty.
Well, then
Yeah, you walking around here talking you want to go on a date and go lay up, and you pull that motherfucking panty down with that motherfucking cotton. That shit is brown. Bitch, you ain't got no new panties in what, 2
KP,
years?
ain't no way in hell. Ain't no. First of all, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Some
That
bad
is a
shit outside here.
nasty.
Who
That
are
is
the
a
people you
nasty
take home?
bitch.
Yeah, you take it home. Let's just talk about
Ew.
Nasty bitches out here.
I know. One day I went in the girls' bathroom. I was like, is women really like this? Ew.
Yes.
I saw it.
And one of my first jobs, I would tell you, when I was working in college, I think it was my sophomore year, I was working as a janitor, on campus. And I got a job in environmental services. I was like, oh, hell no. Women back, like, fuck this shit. I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm like, nah, hell no. I went to the cafeteria. I was like, nah, fuck that. I'll go work in the cafeteria. Fuck this shit.
It's so nasty. Yeah, it's nasty. Someone bring Kathy up.
Who?
Kathy.
She's not here anymore.
Oh.
Why, you wanted more?
I'm not looking at my phone.
She is.
KP, who the hell are you talking to?
She's talking to that nasty bitch.
He's talking to you. I ain't gonna lie, we can barely hear you. Yeah, you sound like 90 miles away.
this call. I have in the house. Shit.
I'm tired of y'all. I'm gonna get off here in a minute. I'm finna smoke. Get the hell on.
Their logic is we're waging war. It's our right to wage war. We will continue to wage war. And by the way, send us the candy. You know, that's not how the real world works. And they're discovering that, and you're discovering that.
He knows what the charter
wage war on people who say give me candy at the same time. You understand? I mean, is it sinking in a little?
He knows he got cooked.
You know, I'm not going to give you candy, Lee, just so you understand. There's no candy that I'm going to give you to get you to agree.
Randy, as you're
You either
speaking,
get it or you don't.
Randy, as you're speaking, he was mucking you in the chat. So that's what's going on. Anyway, let
It
Andre
doesn't
go.
matter. It doesn't
No,
matter.
doesn't matter.
You
Andre
guys,
go.
look, it's a 3-on-1. You won't even let me talk for 10
3 on
seconds.
1. Okay.
Yeah,
We're all
absolutely.
there.
Can I get 10 seconds? Can I get 10
Let
seconds?
Andre. No.
No, I can't. Oh, man.
Andre.
Give him 10 seconds and then I'll go.
Let
Give
Andre
him 10
speak.
seconds and give him just 10 seconds and I'll go.
All right. If Andre says so, go. Lee, you got your 10 seconds. Take it or leave it.
Okay, like I said, Norm made a claim that in the Hamas charter it says they want to kill all the Jews around the world. I said, show me the line in the charter that says that. I'm gonna be. Look, it's not even 10 seconds. What did I say? Not even 10 seconds that I got interrupted.
I'll do it. What's your next point? I get it. I'll do it. What's your next point?
4 seconds.
Okay, my next point is Randy's running cover for you. He knows that's not in the charter, right?
No.
Instead of addressing that point, once again, you interrupt.
I can run
Okay,
say what I
that's
want
10 seconds.
without Norm. I'm not running cover for anybody. Are all the Palestinians running cover? What does this mean, the running cover?
So if I
Now
may
it's
go on.
Andre's turn.
I would like to quote a couple of things. So this is the source Hamas Covenant of 1988. It says, the day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews, killing the Jews. When the Jews will hide behind stones and trees will say, oh Muslim, oh Abdullah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Okay, that's the first instance.
Okay, 1988
Lee, don't
Do not interrupt him.
Lee, I want you to listen to this carefully because you.
I didn't even get 10 seconds. You know what? Andrew, talking to me, get 10 seconds.
You got more than
Reading
10.
the charter. You're going to be pro-Israel after this.
That's 1988. 1988. What is 2025?
Promise, Lee.
Lee, this is more recent for you. This is more.
Lee, you're going to go to
This
the
is Fadi
IDF.
Hamad.
Go ahead.
So this is Fadi Hamad, Hamas senior officials 2019 speech. We must attack every Jew on the globe by way of slaughter and killing if God permits it. That's a senior official of Hamas. So the claim that Hamas or its representatives are not wanting to kill all the Jews.
He's reading.
Lee, don't interrupt. I sent you down. You come up after he finishes reading. Go ahead, Andre.
No, those are. He asked for instances where, like, there would be evidence that Hamas wants to kill all the Jews. So first one is the Hamas covenant. The second one is from the mouth of the horse, so to speak. It's the senior official who basically says the same type of message. So I'm not sure what his content.
He's in denial. Here's another line. Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it obliterated others before it. The martyr Imam Hassan al-Banna of blessed memory. This is in Hamas's charter. Why is this in their charter?
I found another one, Norm. So this is Mahmoud al-Khazar. That's Zahar, sorry. Mahmoud al-Zahar. He's a co-founder of Hamas. Okay, this is 2010 in an interview. There is no place for you, Jews, among us, and you have no future among the nations of the world. You're headed for annihilation.
Did you send me that? How did you get all that? I'd like to have that at my disposal. Could you text it to me? Text it to me personally. Okay. Now, let's bring Lee back up.
1 second. 1 second. Is that okay?
Okay.
These two, I think they're two ladies who want to speak. They've been asking in the chat for a while. So, how do you pronounce your name? Kanako? Not sure. You wanted to speak?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. And I'm from Japan, and I'm a pure Japanese. I don't know the other countries' nationalities in my family, but I can speak English and Spanish and Japanese and Portuguese. And I'm very confused about talking in clubhouse with the United States of American people. So I'm here. Okay?
Well, welcome.
Could you understand?
Welcome to you. Did you want to make a point?
Yeah. So I wanted to know about why the American people or United States of American people want to talk about Israel.
Because you have Jews and that are I don't know.
No.
Huh?
Not my responsibility, obligation.
No.
You have to explain about your opinion.
Okay. Hannah, once you ask a question,
there's Jews that live in America, and there's also people that may not be Muslim, but they're Palestinians or descendants of Palestinians, and so there are people that are tied to the region in this. America is not a home.
I know the diversity already.
Okay.
Kevin Coleman, may I explain to you?
Wait, I just want to ask, Lee asked for a reading of the, I guess he fled the room?
No, Lee got cooked. Lee got cooked.
One second. Hold on. Kathy,
Lee's on the stage.
Keep cooking for the cooks. Keep cooking for the cooks.
So I think my opinion.
Wait a second.
Only my opinion.
Wait a second, Kano. Just wait a second. Lee, you heard us read the stuff. Do you have any response to what we read to you?
Yeah, you said the charter. I said the charter.
Yeah.
Why is he reading statements by some leaders? I said the charter. I was very direct.
We read both.
I was very direct.
We read both. What's your response?
Yeah, that's irrelevant. That's called conflation.
It's irrelevant.
It's called conflation. You're conflating.
Hang on.
Two different things.
We read you the chart. No. We read you both the charter.
Okay, I have to read here.
I'd like to answer Kanakola's question.
One second.
No. I want to finish one conversation.
Norm, she said he could go. Linda said she could go, and you totally
calm down, Pepe. Calm down. So, Lee, do you have any response to the fact that they want to kill all the Jews on the planet?
It doesn't say that in the charter. That's something you made up.
Okay, so it's a combination of what it says in the charter, in addition to what the military leaders said. Do you have a response to what they said?
Like you said, we're taking one fact at a time, and the first statement you made was false. So let's take care of that.
Okay.
Then we can move on.
The first statement I made is correct, and the second statement I made is correct. Do you have a response to the words that we want to kill every Jew on the planet?
You can't respond to false acclamations.
There's no false accusation.
The first fucking charter said they wanted to fucking annihilate the Jews. Like, I've heard this conversation so many times. And these people are gonna they're just gonna deny it, and then move the goalposts.
So Israel's also forming alliances with other countries in the Middle East. So very soon there'll be normalization with Saudi Arabia, who's going to bring aboard 9 other Muslim countries. That's besides Israel's other allies. But you're right, America's a superpower. But another ally of of Israel would be, say, Australia, New Zealand, England, France, etc., and some Baltic countries. But your point is taken that America is a superpower. I don't know how. The truth is, I'm going to throw that. I would have liked to have asked Andre, because I think he would know the information by heart. But that's a good question, Zagros. I don't know. That is a good question.
But do you think?
I know that Israel. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that obviously them being an ally of the United States and us, the most powerful country in the world, supporting them, especially like in the UN and everything else, is going to hold a lot of. It's obviously invaluable help. But do you think that without the U.S.'s help, do you think that they would something bad would happen to them? To the gentleman who asked the question.
Well, Pepe, Israel existed without United States support for the first
20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, for the first 20 years of its existence. By the way, Israel even had some support from Russia until it became clear that Israel was not going to become a communist satellite. So Israel, I mean, has lots of backup plans and backups of backups. Obviously, I'm going to say we as a Jew and an American are very grateful for American support. And that support comes because Israel serves America's interest. No other reason. Israel is not in the, America is not in the business of arming countries that do not conform to its interests. That would be stupid. So Israel and the United States work very closely together, especially on intelligence. And intelligence is probably the most powerful and valuable weapon because it can prevent conflict. So I guess that's my answer to you. For the foreseeable future, America is probably Israel's best ally. It was true under Biden, and now we're seeing how Biden actually held us back in the prosecution of this war. And it's certainly true under the exact opposite of Biden, which is Donald John Trump from Queens, New York.
Andre, are you back? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because you were on the phone when Zagros, who's a journalist, asked the question. His question was, if Israel did not have the backing of the United States as a superpower, do you think then Israel, what was your question, Zagros, will go into decline?
Yeah.
You asked the question, right, so I think Andre can provide a proper answer. Go on, Andre.
I repeat the question. If the United States were to decline in global influence, like the former Soviet Union, what the consequences would be for Israel? There is no superpower to help you. There's no, you don't receive many weapons, especially the advanced weapons, and in terms of military, politics, and diplomatically. And the area is boiling. You have 22 Arab countries, at the same time the Islamic countries, and you have Pakistan as a atomic bomb. So so I was thinking about this. Yeah, that was the question.
So you're basically asking what would happen if the United States would keys to support Israel. I mean, on one hand, I think it wouldn't be like a news to anybody. It would be catastrophic for Israel. But at the same time, I think Israel has shown that it has an ability of hold its own, and it's also, it's also fostering relationships with other countries, including some of the Arabic countries that seem to be, trying to modernize themselves and, reform the old traditions that have been holding the Arab world back with the whole Muslim religion and the reformation of that religion. But I mean, it's a sort of hypothetical, so my answer is also hypothetical.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I could see what would be a problem for Israel is, let's say the United States dropped their support, but then China, Russia, Iran, they were all like, yeah, fuck you, Israel. And pretty much everybody shunned them. And a lot of countries felt emboldened to go after them, knowing that they were not going to have to face the wrath of these major world superpowers. I mean, that would take that's a hypothetical that I don't really see happening.
Yeah, I mean, you need to do it because, are you saying that the United States would stop helping Israel because Israel is a burning beacon of Western values and surrounded by totalitarian regimes. So it's in the best interest of the United States in order to support its trade network and kind of have an example of a country that is successful with those Western values in the East. I think it's in the best interest of the United States.
Do you know that Israel has the amount of American citizens living there than some major cities in America?
Yeah, it's 11 million total?
I'm talking about American citizens.
Uh-huh. has as many American citizens living there as many
who have American citizens. There's about 7.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there. I do have questions for the West, though, and I do get like this sixth sense that maybe the West is going to have some dark times ahead of it. And I do think like it is going to like affect views of Israel. When you look at like the younger demographics and their views, like when it comes to how much they care about democracy, how much more open they are to having an authoritarian ruler, what their views are on things like Israel, feminism, a lot of shit. It's quite a bit different, and I do think that one thing people have to look at is the demographics, for example, of Europe, which is the bulk, and in the United States, the bulk of the power in the Western world. The children that are being born there are largely today non-Western. And of course, in Europe's case, a lot more of them are Muslim. And I don't know demographically how well that's gonna work out for maintaining Western value that at least we've enjoyed from the second half of the last century.
Pepe, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that the loudest voices against Israel in America?
You're breaking in and out. I only heard do I think the loudest voices, and then you cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that the loudest voices against Israel, the groypers, the people who are the loudest voices against Israel, do you really think that they're going to be able to sustain that rhetoric into the next generation that they have direct influence over? These people don't date.
You're breaking up.
Well, I can answer that. In a short part, yes. What you saw, and it's really weird to see this, because like being in the dissident right, like years ago, and I remember like kind of being amazed, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, seeing how like a lot of the things I would only hear in like far right circles, never on the mainstream, were really starting to pop up. If I was to go on X right now, it's like anything and everything I saw back then is kind of gone mainstream. And it is what's really weird is it's also become kind of like a multicultural
Voices against Israel.
Quasi-white nationalist, quasi-Nazi, and in a weird way, quasi-pro-Western, like amalgamation, where you have the big people like Andrew Tate, like Myron Gaines, all of these people of color, Kanye West, talking shit about their own people, black people, foreigners, the Jews. Then of course, a part of it too is like you have to understand when we were young, because I'm in my 40s, being punk rock was your way to rebel. It was getting tattoos and coloring your hair weird colors and that kind of stuff. But now that's kind of become, for the last decade or so, that's kind of like, oh hey, we embrace all of this shit. Corporate media, social media, academic institutions, being that person is kind of considered in a way like the new wholesome. And so I think you kind of saw like a natural rebellion of young men who are like, well, fuck tattoos. And fuck embracing homosexuality. I'm straight. In fact, I'm super straight, and I'm gonna go to church because you people don't do it. Yeah, that. I'm really rebelling now, and I'm gonna be very like misogynistic. Like all of this stuff. Like I see these young men rebelling, which is kind of in a way I think like somewhat predictable.
Exactly,
Much
and that
of
was
the way
my
people
whole
in the
point.
'60s did in the opposite direction.
And eventually, a lot of these people, the hippie love child, a lot of them became conservatives. A lot of people chasing on college campuses. I'd like to see what their rhetoric.
You can't make this shit up.
I mean, it's kind of a trope. Like, it's not a trope, but it's a joke. A lot of people will make like, particularly like those in I've listened to academics in political sciences and sociology and so forth talk about this. You do get the group of people that tend to overshoot, and they do tend to be the loudest. The people that will shoot to the far left or to the far right as reactionaries tend to be like over the top and stupid, and generally their minds are pretty malleable or malleable. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I do think that like when it comes to Israel in particular, like there was a significant event that happened, less than 80 years ago, and it was it kind of like served as an example to say like, hey, this is what happens if you take like rhetoric, especially far right rhetoric, too far, or ideas too far, and I mean, as we go further and further away from that, and as the populations of Europe and America are less and less European, I think it's gonna weigh on their conscious and their what they think is in the scope of appropriate discourse, like way less.
Well, and I'm glad that you mentioned appropriate discourse, because I don't think that it's going to come down to conscience. I think it's going to come down to survival. The far right rhetoric and the far left rhetoric are very, very, very small microcosms that, truthfully speaking, we see a sprinkle of it in society with people protesting. We see a little bit of it on social media, but living our day-to-day lives, we're not necessarily encountering this shit on an everyday, all-day basis. You see what I'm saying? Now, I can only speak to where I live. I live in the second largest city in the country. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, people do talk a lot of shit and people do hold their beliefs. But once it gets to the point where some of these internet people start becoming comfortable and saying this shit out on the street, they're going to learn lessons very quickly.
Well, we've been like, I think like what we've
So, I mean, it's a problem, but I don't feel like it's as big of a problem as a lot of people are making it seem to be on.
I think it's a huge problem.
As far as, no, but I'm saying as far as that, speaking to that being like a litmus test as to the rest of what the collective population feels. It is a problem online. Don't get me wrong. I would be the first to say that. My whole point is that I don't think that it exemplifies the way that the average American or the average people in these said places actually think. And I'm talking specifically in America. I'm not talking about overseas. I'm talking about in America.
Well, I think that like even with the Democrats, and that was kind of their big problem, is that the far left wackies and the squad and so forth, they kept some chains on the mainstream, or I should say the more moderate Democrats, and you're kind of seeing the same thing with Republicans. A lot of people are having their feet held to the fire because they're not they don't believe with the further right wing or extremist point of view. I would just caution this, like a lot of like 80 years.
But how much
so,
power does the extremist point of view hold in America to where
sure,
Republicans need to concede? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yes, these people are very loud. Some of them have a very big mic. But at the end of the day, Alex Jones does not control elections.
Yeah, well, Alex Jones is a retard. But I'm talking about, like, in reality, and I don't want to hog the mic, I would just say this. If we look out the last 80 years or so, that's a small blip in history. I mean, there were times where in Mesopotamia, even when it was Muslim, it was considered progressive, and they're, better than Europe, in most places in Europe. It's everything can change, and it's a shitty thing to have to think about, but I don't see, like, even the United States, I don't think we're always going to be a superpower. I don't see how that's even possible. I just, but I do think that, like, as we've seen, that the standards have changed, the standards of living for Americans, like buying a house, being able to, one income, be able to support a whole fucking families in the 60s. Yeah, I mean, after we fucked up Europe and Japan and we weren't competing with them, at least when it came to manufacturing, we could afford all that, but that all fucking changed. And the quote unquote good old days were like literally a blip.
So
that was not sustainable.
Pepe, when you talk about the good old days, the 1950s and 1960s, okay, people's priorities are different. Okay, they have different attitudes towards leisure. That is around the time that you saw the explosion of the suburban market, not to be filmed on Housewives, but for people to be in ecosystems where their kids could play outside. Somewhere along the way, our generational priorities have changed. Yeah, and that is where there's an imbalance in terms.
Well,
I'm not talking about birth
and birth control. There's a lot of things that changed since those days.
Go ahead, Andre. I think you were trying to say something. But...
I was just going to ask you, do you think that radicals don't control the narrative in politics nowadays?
To some degree, yes, but the funding behind it, no.
I think they still push it. I still think they...
Yeah. So I there was about 3-4 years I've heard this description of how the democratic or free societies work, and I really kind of liked it. So I adopted that view. It's not the majority that makes, that wags the tail. It's a very, very vocal minority. So it's the people who really, really want to change it. So they can convince the rest of the population that it's more or less indifferent to whatever that issue is, to go along with them and to vote with them. And it seems to be like with all of those drastic changes, especially when it was concerned about like minority populations, it seemed to be the case where the minority that really needs the change will make its case very loudly and very, forcefully, and then the majority just goes along with it. And one of the another interesting things I've noticed is that have you heard about this experiment in Colorado when they divided people into two homogenous political groups and kind of saw like what happened to them in terms of the inner group dynamic? Have you heard about this experiment? So I think that was in the late 2000s, and what they did, they basically had a group in Colorado Springs, which is highly conservative, and then they had a Denver group. It was not a large group. I think it was like about 15 or so people. And their hypothesis was that because you didn't have to fight the opposition, you will kind of relax your views and you become more moderate because there's no conflict to be had. But the opposite actually happened instead, because people needed to emphasize themselves within the homogeneous point of view. They became more and more radical because they had to, within that kind of stream of thought, they had to make themselves more visible. So they became more and more radicalized. And
yes,
I think
you bring up a good point. No, that is real. It's called tribal signaling. So,
yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was. It was tribal signaling.
Tribal signaling.
It's happening. So it's happening in the internet sphere. and then it starts spilling out in the real life because people they lose the barrier that they understand between like the world online and the world with real people. And so like how they behave on Facebook in those homogenous communities, it kind of spills in the way they act in the real life.
It's correct. And so like you can look at it two different ways, from the left and the right. Like the left, it could be these white colonial people. I know Israel's mostly non-white, but let's go with what they like to say. Genocidal people. Then somebody will say, well, from the river to the sea, what does that mean? Oh yeah, well, I mean, to be honest with you, it means we need to fucking kill these people. They're genociders. They're colonizers. Do you really care about freedom? If you're not really for the fight, then maybe this isn't for you. But I actually care about justice, and that's their way of like posturing. And then they move people to the left, and of course, the right. You guys can kind of get it. I don't need to do another example, but that is a and it's also another term for it is purity spiraling, where when you go on through tribal signaling, people end up doing a purity spiral where you're only a true radical leftist or a true far right wing person if you believe all of these beliefs. And you're not a real right winger if you're not willing to just kick out all of the Jews and even put them in ovens, because fuck these people. I mean, that is a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting dynamic, and like with that whole colonial project or anti-colonial project, I should say. That one of the books, and I need to like I only read parts of it, but I wanted to read the whole thing, like with Jason Mewes. It's Fanon, the Wretched of the Earth.
I know that book.
Where it's explicitly talks about murderous intent towards your opposition, and for the reason, and it's just it's an attempt to justify that, to justify the killing, justify genocide of people whose ancestors have been unjust to your ancestors.
And see, that's where I struggle with listening to a lot of that pro-Palestinian rhetoric and accusing Jewish people and Israel of genocide. Like, that's where I struggle with it. Because for me, it's like, listen, there is no murderous intent for what we're seeing in this propaganda that's happening on social media. There was no murderous intent on trying to take out armed forces that existed over a wall that sent paragliders and a bunch of missiles into freaking Israel. So there was no murderous intent there. There was an intent to defend. And I can't understand why people don't get that.
Andre, it's interesting you bring that up about the ancestors. There's forget the name of he's a professor of sociology, or he was at the University of Arizona. I used to go there, but he's on tape saying this. It's on social media. But he was part of the Weather Underground in the 60s, a terrorist far-left organization in the U.S. And he said at one of the meetings they had, the open discussion was, well, is it okay to kill newborn white children? And because through their lens, of course, it was like, well, they'll grow up to be part of this hierarchical structure that is going to be oppressive and so forth. And he said, like, one person spoke out, but he was just like booed. He was shouted down, like, oh, dude, how could you? It just kind of shows like the level of sickness that they had. And this was in the 60s, which I wasn't alive then, but my dad.
So let me ask you a question.
He was in his 20s, and he said it was pretty fucking nutty then too.
The way that narrative's being deployed now, okay, where people keep putting the children in front of this argument. Children exist in populace, okay? We all understand that. Why is there not a conversation about the said parents in not adhering to evacuations adhering to a side that was reasonable of not continuing to resist in this radical anarchist movement? Where is the conversation there?
Well, in Gaza, it doesn't.
No, but it does work like that.
No,
it works like that in humanity. No. It works like that in humanity and parental
Hamas
instinct.
would gun down. No, Hamas will gun down people who would try to flee originally. So, like, Israel would drop the leaflets, and then it was on video. Like they saw like a street full of like dead people, like children, women, men. Just because why? Because they tried to flee. They're like, hey, how dare you bastards not become cannon fodder for the international media? It's
so then who is the one committing genocide?
Well, Hamas obviously likes
okay then. So that's
PR.
Right. So that's what I don't understand and what people don't get.
Well, because Adam, it's this mechanism that kicks in. You know, first there's a belief, then there is a self-conviction that the belief is true, and then there's rationalization. You know, that is justifying that what you believe is true.
I hear where you're coming from with that, but I feel like anybody that thinks to criticize the actions and further the propaganda against Israel, number one is the Jew hate, number two is the Jew hate, number three is the Jew hate, number four is the Jew hate. That's basically what it comes down to. They try to create these little tricky little gotcha moments and all this other bullshit. It all comes down to action and reaction. Offensive and defensive. So, I mean, anybody who's arguing anything around that, it goes back to my whole agenda with these people. It's all Jew hate. That's what it comes down to.
Not necessarily. I think that's too simplistic. And the reason being is that...
No, it's fundamental with these people. That's what you're not understanding.
Sure. But I think, like, when it comes to why people hate or hold their extremist beliefs, they can actually be, and I'm going to say this because it's going to sound bizarre, highly moral. Their moral compass it's a little bit different, but when it comes to radicalization, people oftentimes in their head think their way is correct. Logically, they think they're correct, and they're not necessarily evil people, but their ideology will cause them to do evil things, and it's not. It's really. You can't deduce it just to being, quote unquote, a hater, a bigot, like whatever. I mean,
you don't think that there's one common theme here?
Like with what? With Israel, I think it comes from many different angles.
Okay, but you don't think that it intersects at one train station?
No, I don't think the far leftists, and I'm being dead honest, I can tell you the far right, they, what they'll say about Jews is like very dehumanizing, very, and they want to do horrible shit to them. I don't think the left hates Jews. I think they see them as quote unquote oppressors, and they're willing to even violently eliminate the hierarchical structures. But I think they come at it from a different angle.
So Pepe, okay? Do you know one to love their oppressor? Do you know one? Do you know any human being or in any existence in humanity where a sane, rational person, okay, with the cognitive abilities to spew the things that they spew on a regular basis, do you think that they actually love their said oppressor?
I think sane people, I'm going to be honest with you, I think a lot of the German kids that grew up in Germany were probably sane and not hateful and did horrible things because they were indoctrinated. I don't know that they were necessarily bad people.
Okay, but I'm not talking about just German kids in Germany or German kids in white America. I'm talking about Black America. I'm talking about, a lot of the hatred and where it's coming from. Okay, it all intersects in one central place. They open up rooms every single day criticizing Jews. You could be talking about the sun, the weather. It's the Jews' fault. The Jews, it's the sun coming up. It comes down to that. Then they open up rooms and then start talking about this conflict. So again, I mean, if people want to be disingenuous and say that it doesn't intersect with one central theme, I mean, hey, we can do that. But I mean, nobody's going to sit here and piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Sure. No, actually, I think when it comes to African Americans, it's a very different.
It's not just African Americans. They've actually clicked up with a lot of white nationals in holding these conversations about Jews.
Sure, but I think like with African Americans, they take anti-Israel sentiment for two different reasons. They juxtapose their quote unquote plight with the Israeli Palestine conflict, and so they end up basically putting themselves on the as the quote unquote colored people, which is Palestine, and the quote unquote white oppressors, Israel. But then you also have the ones that also kind of looking away. You have black people that are ethnocentric, that are like, while they also feel that like, oh, the white man is keeping us down. Oh, but these Jewish motherfuckers are the ones who are writing the record deals. They're, yada, yada, yada.
But they're not.
And so they kind of like punch up at them, and they say, well, Jews are kind of more, in a way, powerful than a lot of white men are overrepresented. So yeah, they're also like super bad guys in comparison to white people. So they do it for slightly different reasons, but it's
But Pepe, they're not Afrocentric, okay? They're not Afrocentric.
On the
No, but they're not, because again, it's a cover to be able to collect an audience. You see what I'm saying? They're very broken people, and in their brokenness, they want to blame a very convenient narrative that has worked and collectively bringing in an audience. Why is it that they're always focused on Jewish people and the record industry?
They're not just focused on Jewish people.
Why are they not? Hold on. But why are they not focused on how can Black America get into oil and the mineral industry? They don't want to have those conversations. How can Black America get into the hedge fund?
Damn. Some intense shit right there, huh?
Yeah, Black people are able to use the N-word. Do you understand the context behind all that story?
Do you know why I say that I don't even allow them to say it in my room?
Allow them to say it? Black
I
people?
don't allow them to say it in my room either.
Okay, but that's not the question. The question is, do you understand why they say it? Why they can use it?
No. What is your reasoning behind that? What is your reasoning? Why can
I can't believe we're doing this after 4 years.
Why? No, like what?
You don't know why?
Make it make sense.
You never had a conversation with a Black person about that word, ever.
Always, yes. And I know why they say that they can say it, because they
Okay. Jazzy, can you kick wisdom out? I don't want to be streamed.
Yeah.
Stream all your rooms. It's annoying.
Got you.
It doesn't make sense. All right, it does.
I'm not.
You should get ready to test. No, you just said that was Lima. Ah. C'est bon. Je vais être gentleman, or at least I shall not do. Welcome. Kia ora.
Hello, is this politique de forgery?
The person we were just talking to might have just got a voice changer. Can't do that. That's not fair. Is it true? Well, you can. He was just explaining to me how you can get one off Google, and you can get yourself a new, what do you call it? A new phone number every day on Google Phone or Google whatever it was. Google Voice. I don't like
need
one of those.
I hate it. I think it's terrible. I hate it lots. I think it's terrible. I don't like it at all.
No, but I would like to be able to ring into these some of these YouTube shows that I watch, but I can't.
Yeah.
If I got a telephone number, I probably could.
I don't know, dude. I'm always like, I think you should stand by like your name and like, yeah. I hate pseudonyms. I think there's some cases where I guess you have to, but like we're just regular people. We should have to just say what we think. I don't know.
Do you use your real name on X?
Yeah. My real name. Yeah, dude, my real name's everywhere. My real name is on all my social media, everything. It's all my real name. The only thing I do to protect myself a little bit is I don't say where I work. Like that's it. I hope I haven't. I might have when I've been too drunk, but I hope not. Yeah,
I don't know how people do find out. Hi, Mana.
Kia ora, Mana.
Oh, fuck not.
Sorry, I can't see the other gentleman's name that's here. Riho. Nice to see you.
There was something that I forgot to tell you last week, Mana, and I was watching Days of Our Lives, right? And someone actually said Chiho. I can't remember the whole line, but it was Chiho.
On Days of Our Lives? Kia ora.
Days of Our Lives.
Kia ora Friday.
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives.
We're in February. Yes, they do.
Well, I remember
I still watch it.
The old one from the 80s.
Yeah.
Victor Christakis or whatever his name was.
Kyriakis. He's actually died in real life.
He'd be 120 years old by now.
Yeah.
I think you look at every day, Lisa. Is it on every day? Where do you watch it?
It's on weekdays. So Tuesday morning is America's a Monday afternoon, so that's when I get to watch it.
You saw Leading Man and you thought of me? What was that?
One of the lines.
Like Mana.
He said that's on Chiho, but I can't even remember the whole line. It just cracked me up.
Oh yeah, the Samoan Paumu.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
But you got it, right? You know what it is, right?
But Moana.
What does it mean, Mana?
It's actually it's Siu Susu. So when you hear somebody go Chihu, it's actually what they used to say is like when they yell and say something. It's hard to explain exactly what the Faumu is, But basically, you're saying
what does it mean?
It means that the Siu is wet.
Oh.
So like say, all right. Now, sometimes when people have gotten drunk, or as a big sign of disrespect, you can get killed, or you can get really beat up bad. But let's say I was a bad drunk, and my rugby rivalries were a bunch of assholes, and I decided I'm gonna go walking through their village at night and yell out "Choo!" just to piss the men off, and then it's fight time. Or you can be at a wedding and everybody is, kind of like the Arabic, that kind of feel.
Yeah.
That women do, but men do it. They go, Choo! But what they used to say is like, Choo! And if you hear a lot of people from like Western Samoa, you can still hear the Choo! But even in Hawaii, they've adopted the Chihu. So we've seen it like on beer trucks. Because, yeah, interesting. So there was a Samoan character on Days of Our Lives. And he was like happy about something.
No, he was a Samoan character, and I can't remember which character it was. Yeah, it was in a whole sentence, but I can't even remember what the fuck it was. I can't remember the sentence, so yeah. I can't. I'll have to go back and watch the whole week to find it.
I'll find some information about that. Do you know what the episode and season it is? Sorry, carry on, folks.
Well, it would have been not this week, but last week's episode.
And I'm looking at old episodes. Man, Lisa brings back the freaking old conversations, huh? Like, hey, remember 2 months ago I was asking you this? And it was like, huh?
Well, I get up in the morning, I stuff a bag in my mouth and make a hot coffee and sit there and stare at it.
You mean political fag? Was it a political fag you stuck in your mouth? Or you don't even read the title of your room?
No, it's just a normal roll your own fag.
Oh, yeah, they're rolling.
All these weirdos in the room now, Anna.
You use bison? The bison is the Virginia Bird's Eye tobacco. It's Dutch. Oof.
But fagatory sounds like purgatory.
I don't know. I think it sounds very... You gotta put a parentheses around that then. These are Lisa's words, not mine.
I know, they chose the title. I just thought it was a funny title. I was schooled by Prasad last time I had a clickbaity title. I think I might be guilty of doing the same thing.
In Samoan culture, fa'umu translates the celebratory yell or expression of excitement, often heard as chee-hoo, and used during celebrations, entertainment, dancing, and gift presentations.
It might have even been the famous Steve Johnson, with the guy with the one eye patch.
Oh, look at this.
I should have clipped it. Fuck it.
Cultural significance. Common practice in Samoan culture, particularly during celebrations, entertainment events, dances, and when presenting gifts to visiting guests. Chihu, the English equivalent of fa'umu, is often heard as chihu and is recognizable expression in Samoan culture. Historical context. In the past, it was used as a battle cry, signifying readiness for war or the killing of an enemy. Oh, kind of like Native Americans did that. Okay. Just people.
And white guys used to go, oh.
In modern music, FOMO is primarily used as an expression of excitement and happiness.
Ash, can we? You can join. Sorry. Oh, he's a message. Sorry, reader. Lisa, what do you think about the New Zealand scandal recently? This is the fucking Doyle. Yeah, Anna, are you familiar?
Oil? They found oil?
It must be. He's got to be sure to listen to Radio NZ.
Yeah.
Oh, did they write an article or not? The pedo-gate.
It's all over New Zealand Twitter.
Yeah.
All over New Zealand Twitter. What do you reckon, Lisa? Fucking smoke fire? I kind of...
Guy needs sacking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I can't believe Chris Luxon has just got,
it's just a rumor.
It needs to be more like Winnie, who's the father figure going,
Quarter Winnie for the fucking win, dude. I'm on his side with this fucking term. Like, come on, guys. Yeah, but have a look at Twitter. New Zealand Twitter, if you're familiar.
In the same token, though, Winnie didn't say anything about that Jago guy, the rapist, the convicted rapist.
Yeah, but he was convicted. Like, that's the big difference, right? Like, he was convicted. Like, acted poorly for not, doing anything about it earlier. I actually don't know about that story, if I'm honest. But he had name suppression. I don't know. I think
name suppression doesn't mean shit because
they
I
should
found
probably
out who he was.
No, we all did. Everybody knew who he was, like, ages ago. But I actually don't know that story. Do you know the story? Are you familiar with the story? Like, I know he was convicted. And he's a bad man. I don't know the story either.
I posted a picture of his face up going, well, it's definitely not this guy. And I was wondering if I was going to get in any trouble. And I didn't get any, I don't know.
I just, there's so much smoke here, right? Like, he's so much smoke here.
So it seems the Green Party should have vetted the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Properly. And obviously, Chloe followed him on that platform, so she would have seen his posts.
Yeah.
And now she's going, oh, you know, gay people like to use our little language, you know, that we use, and gay people are very angry about that.
For me, like, the worst thing is, like, the geotag. Like, that geotag.
Oh, my God, yeah.
So on the dodge. It's so weird.
The Jago guy was convicted of abusing 2 teenage boys, so that's no different than paedophilia.
Oh, no, for sure. Like, 1,000%. He's a bad man. It's bad. But, like, what I'm querying is, like, how Act responded to it, and I'm not entirely sure of what that story is. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's for sure a bad man. Like, it's embarrassing for Act that he was involved. But, like, I don't know how they acted when, like, it was discovered or whatever. Like, I'm not clear on that. Yeah. Did you see the tweet? I think, sorry, not the tweet.
I mean, if you're against something, you've got to speak up against it.
No, 1,000%. But, like, I just don't know the timeline as to what happened. Like, I'm not familiar with that. So, like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know if they took too long. I think probably they did. But I just don't know the timeline. You know what I mean? That's all I'm questioning.
Anyway, I had set up that group so that we could do a call on there, but did you see the message, Mama? I did a group chat.
Oh, yeah?
With me, you, Uma, and
Yeah, thank you so much for spearheading this. This has been an incredible undertaking. All the hard work you're doing to really get this meeting going.
I finally got Miriam going on Messenger chat now.
Oh, wow.
There must have been like a problem with a glitch in the system, which obviously working now.
It's basically you, me, Lisa, Miriam, Uma. Who else is floating around?
I can't wait to hear the kinds of inventiveness and creativity that we're going to release on the world. I think this is. I think we've got a lot of stuff coming down the pike, guys.
They're solved. Like, just consider.
And I'm glad that Wisdom and TA are here to witness. Just wait, man. There's going to be some stuff. Meanwhile, we have content here on Ben's channel.
That might be Uma in disguise.
It's not Uma in disguise.
This is Frank Sinatra's dressing room content. So when Frank Sinatra traveled to perform, and he would hand this to the managers and say, "You want me to come? This is what's in my room."
Yeah. Okay.
In his dressing room. All right. Number 1, color TV. Parentheses with a second input for in-house pickup. Number 2, upright piano for dressing room. Number 3, private telephone with dedicated line. Number 4, 1 bottle of each: Absolute vodka, Beefeater gin, Jack Daniels, white wine, Chivas Regal, red wine, and Courvoisier.
Okay, sorry, I have to pause there. Interesting.
If you want right there, this is what you got to put in.
Wait, but why wouldn't you specify the kind of white and the kind of red? Like, come on, are we monsters here? Like, that's so ambiguous.
No, we're Americans. We're not monsters. We're Americans.
Are we doing a Sauvignon Blanc? Are we doing a Pinot Gris? Are we doing a Pinot Noir? Like, I need to know these things. Like, come on, Frank. What's right with your
movie Hot Fuzz? Remember Hot Fuzz? Remember the scene from Hot Fuzz when he was finally going to have a beer with the guy, and he's at the pub, and the guy's like, "Come on, have one." It's like, "All right," and he's like, "Yeah, have a beer." And the guy goes, "What is your wine list?" And they said, "Well, we have red and white." And he says, "I'll have a pint of lager, please."
Oh shit! I was going to buy that for client.
He was very specific though about his vodka, about his spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're gonna say.
And don't forget too, you got the spirits. Now number 5 is the assorted mixers: ginger ale, club soda, tonic water, etc. And 6 bottles of Avion spring water.
See, again, etc. It's not specific enough for me. Be more specific, Mrs. Sinatra, please. Like, what is etc.? I don't like this etc. business. Come on.
Oh, watch out! You're talking to the chairman of the board here. I mean, I don't think any snarky producer was like, "I don't know, Mr. Sinatra, why don't you just say that?" He would have been like, "Look here, doll. Where's that other guy I was working with? Get this broad out of here."
Yeah, shit.
Today's your lucky day. I got a thing for blonde.
Well, I went up to the barista and I said, "Can I please have a long black and that'll be with no sugars, just milk." He looked at me and I was like, "What?" A long black with milk, please. There's no milk and black coffee. Get on black. There is no milk. I didn't name it. I didn't make that. See, you didn't know that.
We're both unconscious trying, please. I have no idea. You just like coffee with milk, please. Like, I think coffee with milk. I just. Killer Josh.
Oh, yeah. Quick.
That's my baby goose.
You know what? We have to ask people their age when they come in now because 13-year-olds are allowed on this app, apparently.
What?
And you wouldn't want one in your room if you were talking about
political
things and get
faggotry.
yourself into fucking trouble.
You're certainly talking political faggotry.
We're talking about what happened to Doc.
Your pants?
Oh no, what happened to Doug?
He got harassed for allegedly chatting up a 14-year-old or something, along those lines. I don't know what they call it.
What happened?
I'm like, we shouldn't have a 14-year-old on this app. Apparently it's R13, this app.
I think it's 12 and
I did not know that.
12 and
12,
over.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, just in the way we talk, it's not even really that dirty, and sometimes it is, but most of the time, we still would not want to be talking like this if there was a 12 or 13-year-old.
Did somebody get in trouble?
Yeah, Doc.
What happened?
I don't know the exact mundo, but yeah, he must have been chatting them up.
So what happened?
I don't know the outcome. He's still on the app, obviously. He might be under a different name again.
Yeah, have a new name. Let's get off Doc's guys. He's just like, I have an account. Easy.
Huh? What, Nana?
Oh, I thought you had to be 18 to have a Facebook account. Am I way behind in the times?
The age is 13 for Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's probably 13 for Facebook.
I thought Doc's here. Is this Doc on the audience?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is or not.
Doc, it is you. Come and tell us.
Did he go into jail?
Tell us the story.
He's just wearing a disguise.
Huh?
Oh, no. Let's see Don Wonton.
I have 2 friends.
Doc. No, there is 1,000% Doc.
I have 2 friends in jail just
Explain
for
yourself.
teenage girls. Yeah. What's up, Doc? I do. I picked up in a room the other day, and it was sober Doc. who's like actually coherent and stuff. And
That's a treat.
it was wonderful. I hope he doesn't turn to Mr. Hyde, you know. Once Anna's in the room, that's the thing. He can't help himself.
Well, I've just found out he's been cheating on me with a 14-year-old girl, apparently. My feelings are hurt.
Anyway, I can't compete with age. Mine only goes up.
God, these children.
Here you go. Alex has been found not guilty on all charges.
What was he charged with, Lisa?
All that crazy shit that the first wife got him charged
So
with.
Lisa, everyone you know on Clubhouse, you have them on other media and you're texting with them, video calls.
Well, they're texting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, why would I go over to Chatter so I can video call you when I can video call you on Messenger?
Wait, did you know that? Like, with video chatted. Josh and I have video chatted. Like, we've all video chatted. Like, we're on
I video chatted with Anna, but I was actually walking my dog, and we were both outside in the dark, so I've never actually seen her.
Ah. Lisa and Josh have seen me.
I've never seen Anna, like, in person. But it's okay.
We spent New Year's, we got ring in the midnight hour together.
We did.
In full lighting?
We did. And full lighting, yes. Indeed, yeah. We did. And Josh and I have for sure video chatted, like, quite a lot.
In full lighting. Lucky.
In full lighting,
So
yeah.
lucky. I only get to get the let's walk our dogs both in the dark.
With my phone's in my pocket as well. Like, you just videotape with my phone's in my pocket. It's black. It's in my pocket.
I was having a bad hair day, so I didn't want to be seen. I was having a no hair day. Right. Number 6, he wants 24 sodas, regular and diet, including Coke. Number 7, 1 fruit bowl.
How big is his entourage?
Man, this is the chairman of the board, lady. You better. He can have Marilyn Monroe in there. We're all hanging out at Frank's.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm hanging at Frank's.
Guys, though. 1 cheese tray, including brie with assorted cheese crackers. Number 9, 2 egg salad sandwiches. Oh, a little gassy. There'll be some bloat on the stage. Number 10, he wants 2 chicken salad sandwiches. Minimum mayo, at least mayo. Number 11, it used to say 2 tuna sandwiches, but somebody scratched it out. And now it's number 11 is 2 ham and cheese sandwiches. You replaced the tuna with the ham and cheese.
So he wants all the alcohol, but only 2 sandwiches.
I'm sure it's for everybody. Number 12, he wants 3 cans of Campbell's chicken and rice soup.
Yuck.
Number 13, 12 rolls. 12 rolls of cherry lifesavers, which are terrific.